It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, NBA fans? Matt Peck here from Locked On Bulls, and I'm here to tell you that McDonald's is giving away free thank you meals to educators each morning for breakfast Monday, October 11th through Friday, October 15th, as a thank you for all you do. So if you know an educator, tell them to head to McDonald's for breakfast this week. And if you are an educator, go get yourself an Egg McMuffin, a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit, or a sausage biscuit with hash browns and a coffee free at McDonald's as a thank you for all you do. Valid October 11th through October 15th, 2021 at participating McDonald's. Valid ID required. Limit 1 per person per day. Menu options may vary by restaurant. No substitutions. What's up and welcome in. You found yourself Locked On Bulls. I'm Matt. That's Big Dave. Up ahead on today's program. Guess what we're talking about? Bulls preseason debut. They smashed down their division rivals, the Cleveland Cavaliers, 131-95. What did we see on offense? What did we see on defense? And who deserves special praises from their first preseason game? That's all ahead on a fresh Locked On Bulls. Let's go, y'all.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Here are your hosts, Matt Peck and Big Dave Watson.
What's up and welcome into Locked On Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Matt Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. You can follow my co-host, Big Dave, at BAWL Sports. You can follow us at Locked On Bulls. Shoot us an email, lockedonbulls@gmail.com, or hit us up on that text to voicemail line 331-979-1369. Dave.
Matthew.
You got a big smile on your face. I got a big smile on my face. Let's just start here. How fun was that to watch last night?
That was so much fun. Matt, I mean, I tweeted out that I shouldn't be this hyped to watch a preseason game. I really shouldn't. I shouldn't be that excited to watch a preseason game. But I really was. I was really excited to see it. You wanted to see what it looked like. You wanted to see what the pieces came together. You wanted to see all that stuff. From the opening tip, from the beginning, from when Lonzo Ball hits the first three-point shot, I said, oh, it was the first pick up. All the way to the Caruso pass to DeRozan. Oh, from the alley-oop to Zach, from the back door. We watched Satoransky run the back door with Zach all the time, and it was nice. It was perfect. It was how you draw it up. But you know what Lonzo added on there? A little that seasoning and that flavor on that bad boy, didn't it, Matt? Oh, that brought it out. That brought the flavor out of that. You saw how Zach went up and dunked that? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. All right. It's preseason. We get it. We understand. We understand what it is. It was the Cleveland Cavaliers. We get that. But y'all don't understand. Bulls fans, y'all feel me. But y'all who ain't Bulls fans who just watching us, first of all, thank you. But Bulls fans, y'all feel me on this. We ain't used to bum slaying. That's what we should be doing is bum slaying. And so we got in there and we slayed bums from the beginning to the end. They were up by 40-something points.
48.
They almost beat them by 50. That's insane. It's a preseason game. They took over 100 shots. Like, it was insane. And they shot, and they hit 50. At one point, Matt, they were 51 of 100. 51 of 100 from the field. That's insane. That's insane. It was everything that Matt and I have sat here and told y'all what we wanted to see, that we thought could be the potential of this team. Every single thing, all the way down to Matt Peck out here correctly pointing out that Javonte Green would be somebody they'd be looking at to start. All the way down to that. We out here told y'all what it should happen and what it should be, and that's what we saw. I'm not saying it's going to be like that all the time. It's not. That was crazy. But my goodness, it feels good to celebrate it, Bulls fans. Don't let nobody tell you to feel bad today. Celebrate all of this preseason love, baby. That was amazing. Woo!
Yeah. And look, man, that I think is a good point. You can say, yes, it's just preseason. Yes, it's just the Cavs. So good. So beat them by 40 or almost 50. That's what you're supposed to do. And that's what this Bulls team in years past haven't even been able to do, is beat the basement teams, the dweller teams, because they were one. You can't even beat the bum Cavs. You can't even beat the bum Magic, the bum Pistons, whoever it might be.
Yeah.
That is what you're supposed to see. And I mean, if anything, and this is what Billy Donovan said after the game, among other things, he said, I thought, if anything, we overpassed at times. But guess what?
Agreed.
You finish this game with 36 assists. Oh, wouldn't have that made Jim just so happy? Because look at this. Even more impressively than that, when Lonzo Ball was the final member of the starting five to check out for the last time, which, by the way, the Bulls were up by a zillion, the real players were done with 4:40 left in the third. That is when Lonzo Ball checked out as the last starter to play the last seconds. When he checked out, and it was when it was officially sent into scrubs time, the Bulls had 26 assists to 4 turnovers. The ball just always found a player, and a player always found a cutting lane or an open teammate. My God. I mean, and like, this is the biggest thing of all to me. We saw it on paper when we made these acquisitions. Yep. But the big key was take the ball handling pressure off of Zach LaVine's shoulders. Let him operate as his deadly self off the ball more. And look at what Zach did last night. 25 points on 9 of 14 in just 24 minutes. 25 on 14 shots. That is beauty. That is absolute beauty. And by the way, all of those newcomers, Lonzo, DeMar, and Caruso, they combined for 19 assists. 19 assists. It's so simple. It's so freaking simple. And it was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful offensive basketball to watch. Because you even got some Zach and Vooch like two-man game in the pick and roll and the pick and pop. Right. Vooch operated out of the high post himself sometimes, either looking to get his own bucket. Vooch also had 4 assists last night. It was just so free-flowing. And Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan both had great quotes about playing with Lonzo Ball after the game last night. Zach LaVine said, quote, "It's been a treat to play with Lonzo." DeMar DeRozan said about playing with Lonzo, "Amazing. Hell of a player, talent, IQ. It's fun. He makes it easy. What's even better about it is he has the greatest, most humbling demeanor toward him too." This is something that you and I were talking about throughout the offseason, Big Dave. This is going to be a let's all win and forget about egos kind of team. They all want to win. They don't care who's getting the buckets, who's getting the assist, this, that. No. Lonzo came in and said, hey, I'll get Zach his looks. I'll get Vooch his looks. I'll get DeMar the ball. And it was like, after watching the Bulls offense for years, it was like, beating your head with a 2x4 over and over. It's like, it shouldn't be this hard.
It should.
Last season, we saw the Bulls put up 73 points in a complete 48-minute game once. They had 69 at halftime, and they made it look easy.
Matt, and what we also learned, Matt, is another thing that we said. When you talked about, guys, who's going to handle the ball, like who's going to be the one, who's going to get it. And I kept telling you, it's Lonzo Ball. Like they brought him here to do what he does best. He continually said that over and over again, that they want me to be me. And what's him is being a point guard and a facilitator. He did, and me, Matt, I love little tiny things. I love little stuff. It was one play when they were going back on defense and the Cavs were kind of moving the ball up a little, with a little pace and trying to bring the ball up with pressure. And he and Zach were kind of next to each other. Lonzo just calmly put his hand on Zach's lower back and was like, yo, no, you take the ball. It was that simple, because from that, the ball went over to the wing where Lonzo was, who he was defending. The ball went inside over to Lowry, who they double teamed. And when he tried to throw the ball away, steal. You know what I'm saying? Like it was something just that simple of letting Zach know real simply, no, you right here. I got this. Don't even worry about what's happening here. Remove thinking is what I always tell you what good point guards do. They remove thinking. Zach didn't have to think. He just did what Lonzo told him to do. When they ran the ball, Matt, who was the one bringing the ball up all the time when they was running those transitions? It was Lonzo. They were looking for Lonzo because they knew Lonzo would find people. Man, Matt, I lost it when they got an offensive rebound and kicked out to Lonzo. And in my head, I'm like, okay, it's a scramble play. Like, where are they going to go? Lonzo just held it like this and waited and saw Vooch in the post with a guard on him and said, there you go. Here's the ball. Do what you do. I screamed. I was like, yes, my God. Yes, the competency was insane. This is all I've been asking for. And I know it's preseason, but do you understand why the excitement is like this? Because we ain't seen this even in the regular season. That's why we excited right here and right now, man. But yes, Lonzo Ball, he was perfect. He ran that. He was the general, man. And I love what you said about what DeRozan and Zach had to say about him, because they talked about him glowingly and how you would a general and how you would the leader of your team, of your offense at least. It was great, Matt. It was just great. He was everything I thought he would be, and he did it in a preseason game. And yeah, let's see what else it looks like going forward. Let's just see what else it looks like.
Perhaps more surprisingly than the Bulls' offense humming just like that right out of the gate was how impressive they looked on the defensive end, how engaged and locked in they were on the defensive end. We're going to talk about that right up next. First, though, I want to tell y'all, hey, we are here. Preseason basketball has arrived. If you want to play some fantasy basketball this season, you got to check out the Game Picks feature of that Sleeper app. In 2018, the fantasy sports experts at Sleeper realized that fantasy basketball was broken. Games were being won and lost based solely on whose players had more scheduled games that week. Maybe a player who had one of those 4 games and 5 night stretches, and your player just had 2 games that week or 3. Made no sense and required very little strategy. So here's what happened. In 2020, Sleeper released a brand new way of playing fantasy basketball. It's called Game Pick, and it's only available on that Sleeper app. In Game Pick, owners pick a single game per week for each starter on their roster to count towards their team's total score, ensuring an even number of games played between opponents. So simple, right? The days of losing because your opponents simply had more players with more scheduled games are over. The days of mindless busy work are over. The days of giving up halfway through the season because of all that stupid daily busy work also over. In Game Picks, you pick one game per week for each player, and you base it on things like player matchups, home versus away, opponents' defensive rankings, pace of play, and more. All that adds up to more strategy and less of that stupid busy work. Whether you prefer redraft leagues, keeper, dynasty leagues, Game Pick has you covered. Sleeper cracked the fantasy basketball code, people. If you play fantasy football, if you prefer building out a weekly strategy, a weekly lineup versus all of that daily busy work of daily fantasy, you're going to love Game Picks. Download that Sleeper app and start a league with your friends today. You won't be disappointed.
Yes, sir. I like that. Look, y'all saw how hyped I was, okay? You saw all that yelling that was going on right about now.
Did you turn your mic down in the middle of that?
No, yeah, I was so hyped, Matt, that I didn't even have my mic plugged in the first part. Like, I was like, oh, snap. My mic wasn't even plugged in. I just realized it wasn't while you were talking, and I said, oh, snap, let me plug it in. And then I went and continued on my tangent. And while I was on my tangent, guess what? I wasn't sweating. And if I was, it wasn't showing. You know why? Because before I went to bed and I took my shower, I dabbed myself up with that wonderful thing that we call Sweat Block. Doctor created, doctor recommended, works up to 7 days per use. And my favorite, the dry shirt guarantee. Look at it. If Sweat Blocks doesn't keep you dry, you get your money back. Featured and tested on the Rachel Ray Show by firefighters, who are the only people that sweat more than myself and Matt Peck are people who run into fire. And they said, guess what? This works. It's the bestseller on Amazon for the past 10 years. Over 13,000 positive reviews, and it is currently #1 in Amazon antiperspirant category. You can wear what you want. It's your little secret of confidence. You got to have it in your toiletry bag when you travel, when you're going to meetings, when you're going on your dates, when you're going to visit your in-laws for the first time. Anything, you put this on and it will have you correct. Now, this is how you get it, man. You head to that website. You know what I'm saying? You slide on down to that wonderful thing called the website, and you go ahead and you get you 20% off, guys. But how do you get that 20% off? You put in that promo code locked on. You head to sweatblock.com, you put in locked on and save yourself 20%. Or you can hit Amazon or you can CVS and get the same wonderful deal. Sweatblock. Stay dry. Oh, I'm so excited.
All right, let's move along to some of our thoughts on what we saw from the Bulls defense last night, because Big Dave, that was the big question mark. That was the big concern. That was the big, but for a lot of the national talking heads when the Bulls made their offseason moves saying, well, they might score, but their defense is going to be atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
You and I never really fully understood that, why people felt that way. Just because of the DeMar signing and that DeMar's maybe an underrated defender, or I'm sorry, an under average defender, and people still say the same about Zach LaVine. Guess what? Those two were locked in defensively last night. DeMar and Zach both made like highlight reel defensive plays, blocks, steals, getting their hands in passing lanes, and they're the ones who are supposed to be bad on the defensive end. Meanwhile, your new arrivals, Lonzo and Caruso, took turns applying full court pressure, fighting their way through screens and around screens, engaging in that point of attack defense. And oh my gosh, how much better does Vooch's drop coverage part of the defense look when he has guards that can actually help him and play that defense correctly?
You hear that, man, over there preaching.
World of difference.
Oh, a huge difference, Matt. They say it all the time, man. The one thing that is contagious is defense. It's defense that is contagious. When you see one guy playing it well, everybody wants to amp it up a little bit more. You can't say offense because everybody wants to hit shots. That don't mean you're going to hit shots. But you can play defense. You can get up in a guy's face. And the other guy, Matt, that was contagious was Javonte Green on that defensive end. My goodness, was that man contagious? Go on, Matt. Go ahead, Matt.
I can't remember if you mentioned it before, but who was it? Who said on this podcast just a few days ago that Javonte Green should get that start in Patrick Williams' place?
Oh, let me think about that. I think that was a Matthew Peck. That's who I think that was. That man right there with the hands up, touchdown. Look, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Oh, he was awesome. He was awesome from the beginning. From the beginning, he was everywhere. He was 6'4". I told you, I love people who don't realize their height unless they're 7 feet tall. Those are the only people I need to realize their height. Javonte Green does not realize he is like 6'3" or 6'4". He doesn't. He has no clue that that's the case. All he knows is they put me in the game and I'm going to ball out. But I digress. I'm going to leave Javonte Green love to Matt because I'm sure he'll get into it.
I mean, I was watching that. The perfect part, Dave, is that he took number 24 and he stole Lauri Markkanen's lunch money on more than one occasion last night. He plays like a 7-footer more than Lauri ever did, man. It's crazy.
God, that's so true. My God, that's true. Oh, man, that is true. Get your own hot sauce, Javonte Green. I want some. Get some. I promise you, I will go get it, my friend. My goodness. Matt, that is so true. My God. But they had I think they had 13 steals and 11 blocks, if I'm not mistaken. If you just want to look at that aspect of it.
Javonte Green had 4 of those blocks.
Four of those were Javonte Green's blocks. That's insane.
Power forward.
Yeah, a couple of them was on 7-footers. Because that one where he went up and blocked the dunk, that was insane. Okay, that was really, really crazy and insane. So that I think Lonzo had 3 steals, Zach had 3 steals. Like they were in guys' jerseys all night long. And that's why I keep saying it's contagious on that. Because I also mentioned that Zach LaVine would be getting more steals this season because of the way that he likes to play defense, because he doesn't have to guard that best player anymore, and he can cheat a little bit because he has Lonzo Ball as one of the best perimeter guards out there as far as the defense is concerned. So Zach can cheat in the passing lanes now, and that's what you saw. And Lonzo, man, his IQ, my God, on the defensive end was insane, man. They couldn't pass the ball to anybody that he was near. He was out there like Deion Sanders. He was just intercepting everything that came towards his way. It was amazing to watch. Yes, the Bulls on the defensive end, guys, were impressive. I don't know why they thought they wouldn't be good on the defensive end, Matt. They were good on the defensive end last year, okay? I believe they were 12th in total team defense last year. They were solid there, all right? Winning 31 games. They were still solid at the defensive end. They got better defensive players, and they're supposed to be worse. That's not how this works, guys. Not how this works. You get better players, you're going to be better, and we definitely saw that yesterday.
And I mean, it's something that we've heard Billy Donovan has harped on a lot in training camp so far is defense, defense, defense.
Yeah.
Get yourself engaged, activity. Even if you're not a, elite skill player on the defensive end, if you are engaged and active, good things happen. And we saw that from everybody. Lonzo, DeMar, Caruso, Zach, you had a good point about, hey, the pressure is off Zach on the offensive end. He's more engaged on the defensive end. He had 3 steals last night.
Yeah.
And look, again, yes, it's just the Cavs, but the Cavs did start their presumptive starting 5, Okoro, Allen, Mobley, Sexton, and Garland.
Right.
The Cavs, and they all played real minutes. All of their starters played at least 22 minutes or more.
Right.
They held the Cavs to 35.5% from the field last night. 35.5% from the field. And here's the other big thing, Dave.
35.
When Billy Donovan has been harping on things in training camp that we have heard. Defense, 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 because I want to get out and run. I want to get Alonzo Ball those opportunities where he's in a, okay, we just got to stop. My eyes are down court. Who's out there? Let's run. Yeah. You need to do the defensive stopping and the creating of turnovers in order to let your young, fast, athletic team get out and run, to give yourself that advantage on a nightly basis of winning points in transition, of winning the fast break points battle. And boy, did they do that last night. You mentioned the 13 steals, the 11 blocks, 26 points off of 22 Cavs turnovers last night. You need the defense in order for Lonzo and that fleet of just let's all run. Let's all take turns with no look bounce passes for cutting people and dunks and alley-oops. Shout out to our guy Stacey King for coining the phrase "Shy Slamma Jamma" last night.
Shy Slamma Jamma, baby.
You need the defensive element for that part to happen, and they did that last night.
And Matt, the other thing that they did that I was very impressed with was, I believe it was that second quarter, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was the first. It was so many points, I've lost my mind. But when they made Cleveland go on basically a 7-minute drought of scoring where they couldn't do anything, Cleveland couldn't do anything, almost full 7 minutes. There's 12 minutes in a quarter. They almost went a full 7. I believe it, if I have to be technical, I believe it was 6:42 when they finally hit a baseline 3.
Right.
But my God, and during that time, obviously that's when the clowning began. That's when the alley-oop started. That's when the cool passes started, because of what you just said. Exactly, Matt, what Billy Donovan said. If we do it like that on the defensive end, guess what? We're going to have a ball on the offensive end. That's why they were overpassing, because they had the ball a lot. They had the ball a whole lot. They're like, who wants it? Who wants it? Your turn, your turn, your turn. But, oh, man, it was so much fun, man. It was so much fun to watch. And that defense, it just leapt out at you. And you're right, Matt, about Vooch. That drop coverage, I mean, who had anything to complain about as far as the drop coverage was concerned when you're watching that? Nobody. You know why? Because you saw you had better unballed defenders. That's why it works, because you have better unballed defenders, man. So he can do that. And it's not like you had to hide him, because I told people all the time, if you looked at Vooch's defensive rating, he's right in the middle of the pack. He's not below average when it comes to that stuff, man. He's not. He's just average. He comes right in the middle of the pack. This takes him
help.
Yes. When he gets help, it can tick him up slightly above average. That's what this does, man. Oh my goodness. It's everything we said. Everything we said. It's even, and I don't know, we're just talking defense right now, but everything we said that could happen defensively happened when we watched that game yesterday. Every single thing. And oh my God, it was so much fun to watch because they were clamping them on defense. It was demoralizing to the Cavs. You saw them, man. Lowry didn't know what hit him. He had Lonzo Ball. They had Lonzo Ball.
Lonzo shut Lowry down.
My God, he shut him down. Javonte Green shut him down. Lowry didn't know what was hitting him, dude. He was confused, like, what team is this? I don't even know who these guys are anymore, man. Aren't we cool? No, we ain't cool no more. You on the other team, bro. You ain't cool when we in between these lines. And my God, man, everybody got it, man. Everybody got it. And it was great. It was great. My God, it was great.
And, when you think about how defensively impressive the Bulls were last night, the other thing that comes to mind is something that I think you tweeted in all caps at one point in the middle of that game, which is their best player from last season on the defensive end, Patrick Williams, didn't even play.
He didn't even play. He didn't even get in the game.
Pat, you nursed that ankle. We got this. It's the Cavs. We're going to win by 50.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, man. Yes. In the face. Yes.
Glorious. Absolutely glorious. Okay. To wrap up, let's touch on a few other pieces. Maybe, highlight a couple of guys who got some spot minutes off the bench last night. Before that, though, Big Dave, we got a fun slate of NFL games already on deck. It's like already Thursday. Tomorrow, we got Thursday Night Football. We got some fun games this weekend. Tell our listeners if they want to play some fantasy football, or I'm sorry, if they want to make bets on the football games this weekend, or even they can bet on preseason basketball if they want. Where can they do that?
Listen, there's only one place you can do that, one place you should do that, and that is Bet Online, because they are back and better than ever and all up in your face with the wonderful things that you're going to need. With that new updated site and that interface, and they got even more odds, props, and contests, Bet Online continues to be your number one source for everything football. Everything. So head to the website and use your mobile device and sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit, ladies and gentlemen. Now, don't forget to use that promo code LOCKED ON. That is LOCKED ON to receive your bonus, y'all. 50% welcome bonus. Come on now. All the sports you're talking about, football, basketball, boxing. You know the big fight is this weekend. You know you want to put something on that, man. All your favorite Vegas casino games, man. Whatever game you think of, trust me, you can bet on it. Take advantage, y'all. Don't wait. Take advantage of all these amazing offers available for the 2021 season, because Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. Bet Online, where the game starts. Sports.
David Harrison here, the Locked On Washington Football Team podcast, celebrating with you a 21 grain salute to a less boring sandwich thanks to Dave's Killer Bread. I don't know about you guys, but when I eat pizza, I eat it for the toppings, not the crust. And when I eat a sandwich, it's for what's inside the bread, not for the bread. But when I throw a sandwich on 21 whole grains and seeds, thin sliced bread from Dave's Killer Bread, it is the epitome of addition by subtraction. That thin sliced bread lets me focus on what's inside the sandwich, but also adds to the sandwich with killer taste, killer texture, killer nutrition, a subtle sweetness, and a seed-coated crust. Dave's Killer Bread is America's #1 organic bread for a reason. It tastes so stinking good. Dave's Killer Bread is made with the highest quality organic and non-GMO ingredients and is power-packed with whole grains, fiber, and protein. Visit daveskillerbread.com to learn more and look for Dave's Killer Bread in the bread aisle of your local grocery store.
That jingle's getting better and better. All right, so Big Dave, let's talk about a few of these bench pieces. And Billy Donovan gave everybody at least some run last night. Caruso led the bench in minutes with 20, all the way down to a flyer they took the other day, the kid from Minnesota we chatted about in one episode last week, Daniel Oturu, who had 4 minutes. I want to, obviously we even gave Caruso his fair due when we were basically talking about the starters because he played a lot of those minutes. Troy Brown Jr., man, he came out and was just like, boom, 3, boom, 3, boom, 3. And a guy that came over mid-season last year, We saw him play some minutes. We're like, okay, this guy's got some length. He can play some defense. He can occasionally knock down a shot.
Mm-hmm.
He and Caruso were the first two off the bench, and I like Troy Brown Jr., man. I think that guy absolutely is one of the names that Billy Donovan has pegged to say, you're guy number 7 coming off the bench.
Again, another person that we talked about on this show a lot was Troy Brown Jr. and a guy who we said we were going to be watching. And because we saw what he did before he got hurt last year, we saw what he was doing on both ends of the floor. But in this game in particular, it was definitely on the offensive end for him. My God, like he was unconscious. Those threes were insane. Now, that's one of those things where I can point to and say, I'm not sure he'll be able to continue that hot streak throughout the season. It's preseason. I don't know. But damn it, it was good to see because it was awesome to witness and watch that because it was all in rhythm. And if he could become that kind of a threat on the perimeter for defenses when Caruso is driving and kicking, for when you saw DeRozan, who also, what'd he do, Matt? Ran with the second unit and was also being a facilitator with the second unit, which is what we the hell talked about. But when you can see when he's going to do that and Troy Brown Jr. is out there with that second unit and he's hitting 3-point shots like that, you have to account for that as a defense, as an opposing defense. You have got to account for a guy like that. So what it did, Matt, even though I don't expect him to be at this clip of whatever insane percentage he shot, I do like it because now teams have to think about it. Now you have to game plan for it. Now you can't just leave him out there. You have to worry about it now because he's shown you that he has the capacity and capability to be a threat from the 3-point line.
Right, and that's really all it's about is can you keep defenses honest by knocking them down? He hit his first 3, and then he ended the night 3 for 7. So like you said, like we didn't know Troy Brown Jr. as a 3-point specialist when he arrived, and he has never been in his NBA career. But can he even go 3 for 7 every night? 3 for 7 every night is like totally serviceable. That's great. Or, or 2 for 4, 2 for 5. Great. Knock those down. And speaking of Big Dave, guys getting bench minutes who are there to hit shots. I don't know about you. I was surprised how early we saw the kid Matt Thomas, who was kind of like an afterthought addition to this training camp roster. He knocked down a couple of threes. He finished the night with 11 points on 3 of 7 from the floor. Also made it to the free throw line for 3 of 3. What did you think about that? Because I didn't expect him necessarily to get in ahead of guys like Stanley Johnson, Alize Johnson, some of these other names. I was like, oh, Matt Thomas. What? Okay, what do we have here? But kid clearly has no fear launching threes.
Yeah, let me start with that part first. No fear. Like he is a confident shooter, and it looks good coming off his hand. That 4-point play he had, Matt, my goodness, I was like, yo, that's NBA stuff right there. Like, I love the way he shoots the ball, and he was pulling. Like, he was pulling, like, it's the difference between how he was pulling and how we were used to watching guys pull, you know what I'm saying, back in the day with our team. It's a difference because it was a confidence and like, yeah, I'm sure this is what I do. This is what I'm out here for. There was no hesitancy in what he did. As soon he knew he knows who he is, and he was very comfortable in that. Because I talked about that too. Like, I didn't know if we had a spot up shooter. I was like, this is why I talked about getting JJ Redick and stuff like that. And once again, AK said, oh yeah, don't even worry about it. Sprinkle. Let me get you a little Parmesan on top of that. I got you covered. You can go ahead and get you a spot up shooter. Now, I think the reason we saw him so early, Matt, is because that's basically the role that we're going to see Kobe White in. So I think they wanted to get a look at that and see what that looked like, because that's all the shots he was doing. I was like, oh, that's Kobe White shots. Like, this is what that is. This is exactly what Kobe is going to be. So I think that's why he got in there so early with that unit, because I think that's where Kobe is going to be playing with that unit. They kind of just wanted to see that dynamic and how it could work. Now, if Kobe can make, man, because I think Kobe is a better player than Matt Thomas, but when Kobe gets hot, it's microwave hot. My goodness, it's scalding hot. So, yeah, I think that's why we got a chance to see him in there, man. But he made the most of it. I'll tell you that. He was awesome.
And it's cool that you mentioned that, because that's where I was going to go next. Is we had all these fun pieces that we saw, getting useful minutes on the bench. And, not only did we see Patrick Williams last night, but Kobe White. Like, where does he fit into all of this when he comes back, hopefully sometime in mid-November? And I think that's a really good point. Maybe that is why Matt Thomas was out there. Okay, here's our off-ball, two-guard guy who's going to come in and get shots up in that second unit. And that, last night it was Matt Thomas, but as you said, it'll usually be Kobe White. Another guy I wanted to give some credit to, Alize Johnson, man. That dude had 11 boards in 17 minutes, and goodness. 4 of those came on the offensive end. That guy, and also shout out to Javonte Green, who had 4 offensive rebounds himself last night. Javonte Green was everywhere. But when we heard about the Alize Johnson signing, that's what we said would be the biggest contribution from him. Yeah. Boards on both ends. Because when we are a little bit concerned about the overall size of this team, anybody who has any semblance of size and rebounding skill, chip in. And you got 11 chipped in from Alize last night.
I hate to sound like one of those old fogies who I love hanging out with because I learned so much from them when I talk basketball with them. But I hate to sound like, but you can't measure heart. You know what I mean? Like, you can't measure it. Rebounding, and I think Dennis Rodman kind of said, rebounding is kind of about heart and determination and how bad you really want it. So that size of being concerned about it, Matt, it didn't bother me yesterday. I'm not saying it won't be a problem because you need tall people to play in the NBA. It's a thing, all right? It's a thing that's going around. So it's going to be an issue, I think so. But you can't measure the heart and guys wanting it. You can't measure that. And that goes a really long way. And that's why you saw, like you mentioned, Javonte Green getting 4 offensive rebounds. And like you said, Alize get 11 rebounds in a short amount of time and things like that. Because those guys wanted it. They had the heart to go in there. Javonte was in there, okay? Like, he was in there, bro, getting that ball because he wanted it, all right? And so you can't measure that. You can't measure the heart of a player. And heart is definitely a big aspect of rebounding, guys. It's one of those things that you can't look at on a sheet, okay? Heart and will and determination are things you cannot account for. And those guys definitely had it, man. And it was good to see. And Alize definitely, he definitely had it for sure.
And, the other Johnson, Stanley Johnson, chipped in with 6 rebounds of his own.
Yeah. He shot 3
in that second unit. But you want a fun stat, Dave? You want a fun stat? Sure. I just looked this up. So the Bulls took 25 more shots than the Cavs last night. 25 more shot attempts and still out-rebounded the Cavs by 6. How does that work? How does that work?
That's insane. Like, that's insane. That's insane. I'm sorry, y'all. That's exciting. I don't care. It's preseason. I get it. That's exciting. That's freaking exciting. I ain't used to this. They act like you've been there before. When I've been there. Right. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've been here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, and I'm sure we'll see it as it goes on because there's no way you can sustain this level. I don't care, preseason or regular season. It's going to take a dip, and you're going to be missing some of your stars and your key players at a certain point in time. But this is the way you want to start it. You couldn't ask for a better start to a brand new everything for the Chicago Bulls and the Chicago Bulls nation. You couldn't ask for a better start than this. Everything was done correct. Now, I got tired of people telling me on Twitter, man, you're getting excited about the Cavs? Dude, the Cavs was whooping our ass. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we didn't. Right. This is not, again.
We lost to that team multiple times last
year. We watched it. Y'all don't understand that. Me and Matt watch every game. Like, we saw this. This is why the excitement is genuine and for real, because this is all we wanted to see. So the fact that we're seeing it now and this early, my God, it feels good, man. It feels good. And Bulls, feel good, Bulls fans. Don't worry about what people saying to you. Feel good, because this is awesome.
That's the cherry on top, is when you remember, oh, yeah, the Cavs are in our division. We get 6 games against them.
Bum slaying. Slaying.
Just count all those W's. Count all those W's.
Yes.
You've got to bum slay, to use your phrase, Dave, especially if the Bulls want to make a significant leap in their win total from last season. You hope that they are more competitive and are better at closing out winnable games against quality competition that we saw them lose almost every single time last season. Play a good opponent evenly and lose late. You want to add some wins in those kind of games, but even more importantly, crush the bums. If the Bulls beat people that they were theoretically more talented than on paper last season, they would have had 7 or 8 more wins than they did. So for the people saying it's just preseason and it's just the Cavs, but the Bulls starters played and the Cavs starters played and they beat them by 50, and we're going to play that team a lot this year. That shit matters.
Yes, it does. And here's another thing that why it matters also, Matt. When Zach LaVine went up for that dunk and fumbled it, and it went through his hands because he was thinking too much. Can you imagine Bulls fans when they saw that last year? Preseason or regular season? We would have been like, oh, here we go again. Good old Zach messing with the hands. But now we see it, and we laughed it off. We were like, Zach, trying to do too much. Hey, Lonzo gets the rebound and the putback. Oh, great. Right. Now we can laugh it off. Whereas before we would have been like, oh, man, he can't do that. He's got to finish that. He's got to finish it. We don't care no more because we were like, we're getting the ball back and we go score. Oh.
Yeah. And the great thing is he missed. Lonzo was right there to clean it up. You get the bucket anyway. And they share a laugh. And here is my final takeaway from last night's game, Big Dave.
Sure.
And it's something that I saw with, 4 or 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Billy Donovan has sent in the scrubs, the victory cigars. Mm-hmm. And Zach is sitting there on the bench with Vooch, with DeMar, with Lonzo, and they are just yucking it up. They're laughing. Yeah. They're having a good time, enjoying each other's company. And I tweeted about it last night when I saw it because I saw that, and my mind immediately flashed back to the Bulls are in the process of finishing up a game where they're going to lose by somewhere between 25 and 40. Mm-hmm. And Zach, not talking to any of his teammates, sitting at the end of the bench, staring into space like this.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
What a remarkable contrast when you picture despondent, depressed, oh my God, when will this end, Zach LaVine, that we saw last season and beyond, and seeing Zach enjoying his teammates and enjoying the atmosphere because they're done for the night and they're winning by 40.
Yeah. Boom.
God, it made my heart soar to see Zach that happy, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it did, Matt. But I have to talk about this also. One more thing here, because I know something else also made your heart soar. In the fourth quarter of the game, when Cleveland brought in their substitutions, they brought in former Bull Denzel Valentine. And the moment he walked on the court, the chorus of boos that took place, the first person I thought about was Matt Peck, and the second person I thought about was C-Red Fred. And Matt, I just imagine the joy on your face when you saw that. So I wanted to hear how you felt when you saw that happen to one Denzel Valentine.
Loved it. I asked for it midway through the third. Donovan's pulling his starters. We're up by 1 million. I'm like, the only thing that can make this super happy and entertaining evening better is if we get to see the clown come in. Let Denzel come in there and launch some silly ass shot. And we didn't get to see a silly ass shot, really, but even just the joy of not only that when he checked in, he was booed, but that anytime he touched the ball, Bulls fans were either booing him or heckling him and like yelling at him to shoot it. It was glorious. Glorious. Fresh reminder that guy, not my chair, not my problem. Not my chair, not my problem anymore. Now we get to laugh at the misery of Cavs fans who got to deal with that dude's foolishness. And I don't know if it's a sign of where he is planning to be in that Cavs rotation, at least as of now in their training camp. But like you said, he did not come in until like at least midway through the fourth in garbage time.
Capital
And
G
that brought me
garbage.
so much joy.
Look at him, y'all. Look at him just radiate. That's not the sun that next in the window. That's Matt's smile reflecting around everybody right now, man. He is a happy person. It was, man. It was funny. I'm sorry. It was. I laughed. I was like, and then I saw somebody on Twitter, I think it was Rob Perez on Twitter, said, man, Bulls fan haven't forgot about that shot in Miami. And I tweeted him back, hey, trust me, dog. It ain't just Miami.
It's not just that one shot.
It ain't that shot. Yeah, trust me. There's a plethora of things Bulls fans pulled from to make them want to boo him, man. Wow. I wasn't expecting that boo. I really wasn't. But, man, wow.
The list of grievances Bulls fans have against Denzel Valentine is like that magic filing cabinet in that scene from
Bruce Almighty. Yeah.
When Morgan Freeman and Jim Carrey are standing there empty and he opens up the filing cabinet and it's like hundreds and hundreds of meters long. That is the filing cabinet of grievances that Bulls fans have against Denzel Valentine.
It's true. It's long and it's not our problem anymore. We can file it away. We can close the cabinet and we can move on. Oh,
absolutely.
What a great day.
Beautiful.
What a great night.
Well, Bulls fans, we know you enjoyed that preseason debut. The Bulls have another one on deck against the Pelicans, another home preseason game that tips off 7 Chicago time on Friday. And in between now and then, Big Dave and I will be here for another fresh episode for y'all tomorrow. Maybe we'll do some voicemails. Maybe we'll react a little bit further to this first preseason game. In the meantime, hit us up on all of our various social medias and text lines and emails. We are lockedoutbulls@gmail.com. 331-979-1369 is the text and voicemail hotline. And on Twitter, I am at Bulls_Peck. He is at Bowl Sports, BAWL Sports. We are at Locked On Bulls. Big Dave, final thought.
I'm happy. That's it. Let's move on. Go Chicago Sky. One win away tonight, and they are in the WNBA Finals, man. So let's get it done. Let's support the Chicago Sky, man, because that's good basketball happening over there, baby. So let's do it.
Love to see them close out that series. Maybe they're inspired by what they saw from their Bulls counterparts last night. That was fun. This episode was fun.
Yes.
Get ready for a fun season, y'all. That's what we learned last night. The Bulls are going to be fun. For Big Dave, I'm Matt. Thanks for listening and watching. As always, Bulls fans.
Woo!
Until next time, keep ready, be good. Peace out.
Peace out, y'all.
That's it.